Hello, I'm going to walk you through how to piece together the front of the Whistler sweater. This technique, I'm not sure, I've never seen this anywhere else, so this might be new for you too. It was the way I could figure out how to have the yoke without having to sew corners, like inset corners. I thought this was a little bit easier to do once you get your head around it. It's a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle, so I thought making a video would help construction a little bit. First thing you want to do, you make sure you have your front and back pieces sewn together at the shoulder seams. Mark the center back, and also make sure you've transferred your pattern markings on the front piece on each side. And you should have your shawl collar or hoodie all sewn up and done and sewn to the front pocket piece up here at the yoke. So what we're going to do, with right sides together, just always keep in your head, right sides together. Line up the pockets from the front piece to the pockets of the front pocket piece. So the front piece is upside down at this point because we're doing right sides together. So line those pieces up and pin or clip in place. I'm just clipping at the bottom of the pocket and at the corners. We're going to do that on each side. So you got two pockets here. Okay, now we're dealing with two curves, a convex curve and a concave curve. Now these curves, the lines are the same size, but it may not seem like it, which is why we have placement markings. That marking you have on the front pocket, front piece, line it up with the seam of the yoke and pin that in place. And do the same for the other side. Of course, we're still keeping everything right sides together. Now those two curves are going to look like that. We're just going to ease between these two and just pin them or clip in place. When it comes to stitching, you will have to just very, very slightly stretch one to match it up. So we'll do the same on the other side. We're going to match up those curves. Okay. So now we have the pockets and the curves pinned all the way up to the yoke, the seam of the yoke. And we're going to flip the collar part out of the way. We just want to deal with the raw seam or the raw edges on the collar. Now that center back mark you made, match that up with the center back of the shawl collar and pin that in place. Now this mess right here is the shawl collar, and then this is the matching seam. And you're just going to pin this in place. And you don't have to stretch, this should fit pretty exact. We're going to do that on both sides. So we're still doing right sides together, matching the raw edges of the collar to the front piece. And we're not having to stretch at all. And that's it. That is how you pin the front piece together. And what you end up with, when it's pinned, is that. So you can see we have our pockets here, all attached. So now what we're going to do, use a straight stitch on a sewing machine, and you're going to go stitch around where you pinned. You're going to go around the pockets, around the curve, up around the collar, and back down around the pockets. You do need to use a straight stitch on a sewing machine. You have more control that way. And also you're going around some corners and curves that you need to pivot at to give it a nice clean finish. If you like, you can go back with your serger and clean up those raw edges. So I hope that cleared up any confusion you have. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, tammy@lovenotions.com, or post in the Facebook group, the Pattern Support Facebook group for Love Notions. Thanks.